Yes, welcome. Welcome to the Lord Petty Podcast. Appreciate you tuning in. And I forgot to turn down the music before I started this, so I'm going to be fucking deaf for this entire podcast, which is alright, because it's probably a better thing if I don't hear myself talk, because if I don't hear myself talk, then I won't be aware of the dumb shit that's about to come out of my big, pasty German mouth. How you guys doing? You guys having a good week? I took a little time. I've been on this, letting shit breathe. I feel like I go too hard. I feel like I go too hard for the motherfucking radio sometimes. And I just try to do too much. So I've been trying to only post every 2 days on Instagram. And then I'm only going to post a podcast every 2 weeks. But I think I'm lying about that one because I just have too many thoughts. I need to outsource my fucking brain. It's funny when I listen to these motivational podcasts and all this entrepreneurial type content. You know, they say, oh, you just need to create. That's the easy part. That's the easy part, dude. I need a dork to just do all this other shit for me because I can sit there and just come up with stuff all day. And that's why I'm a terrible employee, sitting in an office, because I don't want to just sit there and do the same repetitive task over and over. I want to come up with cool shit to do. And a lot of people are like that. If you're like that, you should probably just quit your job immediately and make an OnlyFans and bust them titties out. Even if you're a dude, let the Morlocks hang. This is 2022. It's Pride Month. And for my Pride Month, I've decided that I am a racist. I am a right-wing extremist because I wanted to have a cool, fun identity to just throw around with, something with a cool little tag that's just different than being a just standard white guy, you know? I was hoping the vaccine was going to turn me autistic, but it didn't work out. I mean, I'm definitely dumb as fuck, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to be a racist. So that's where we're at, you know? I was writing on Twitter things why I'm a right-wing extremist. I mean, reasons being I'm a right-wing extremist because I can watch a Joe Rogan podcast and I can walk away with my own opinions afterwards. I don't put all my faith into news anchors or podcast hosts. I actually think about stuff. I realized I'm also a right-wing extremist because I don't think we should be talking to kids about butt sex. I also realized that I'm a right-wing extremist because I'm only attracted to chicks. That's just kind of my identity. And I'm obviously racist because I don't see color. And that's the most racist thing to ever say. It's because I just don't feel bad for... well, it's not that I don't feel bad for people. When I see somebody in their shitty circumstances, obviously I have a lot of compassion for anybody. But I don't look at somebody that doesn't look like me and decide that they need my pity or me to just stand there and act like they're never going to figure it out. And without me speaking up about their existence is completely miserable. And that makes me a racist. I am not one of these loving liberals that speaks up for people and validates their struggles. It's just not me. I'm just not a good person. I'm just a right-wingy. A little right-wingy. Yeah. That's just I'm gonna make that word cool, or at least take the stigma out of it. I was thinking about it because Lil B dropped an album back in 2010, because I model my whole life after what Lil B's done. Lil B dropped an album in 2010 called I'm Gay. Then everybody was all up in arms about it. So I'm just gonna call my album, my podcast or something, I'm just gonna be like, I'm racist. Yeah, dude. I don't know where I'm going with that. It doesn't matter. I really don't even want to do this podcast right now. Honesty. How about that for some honesty? I really don't want to do it right now because my brain is just so fried from writing. I've been writing the shit out of my book. And it's hard. Dude, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It's so hard. But yeah, dude, you just kind of get spent. I guess I do when they say you just got to keep creating. But my brain is pretty dialed in. But it's still hard sitting there just writing. It's way easier talking. talking is so much easier. But then it's like, okay, how much can you possibly, and until the book comes out, I don't want to talk about the stuff that's in the book. And I don't know how the book is. It's such a weird thing. I've never, because everything else I can just completely wing and just say, well, fuck it. If people don't like it, they don't like it. But when you write a book, you kind of want it to be good. And I keep having to remind myself, that's not my job to decide if it's good or not. Just write it and just put it out. Except I'm going to have to figure out all the publishing type shit. And, yeah, hopefully people like it. Hopefully sell a couple copies and go buy a jet ski or something. Just one jet ski that I don't take to the water. Yeah, I've just been a fucking hermit, dude. I haven't done anything besides just create and write and read. I'm fucking smart, dude. It's scary. Not that I'm smart naturally. I have just done nothing but just dig my head into people's work who are smarter than me, because I think I've talked about this before, but I used to always want, I was obsessed. I remember having this thought when I was in school. I was obsessed with the idea of, I wish I could know what I know in the future. And then eventually I figured out the only way I can know what I'll know in the future is by reading shit of people that are smarter than me. So now I'm just obsessed with trying to cut corners, and not cut corners in a shady or lazy way, but cut corners as far as cutting dumb corners that are just a big time. So it's like with stand-up, I don't have 10 years to just eat shit and be doing open mics. Like, I just don't. You get a lot of these comedy purists where they go, oh, you just got to put your time in. And I respect that. I understand that you need to put your time in. But also, you know, look at fucking Steve-O all of a sudden, or like, what's his name? Rubber Band Man, Wild as the Taliban. They just hop on stage, people go watch them because they're already known for other stuff. It's kind of how I knew I was going to get people to listen to the podcast, by making memes. So now maybe I can go get people to watch me do stand-up by doing a good podcast. And this is the same thing. You take these little micro skills and you just put it together. It's like, why am I going to go wait 2 hours to go get on stage for a 4-minute slot to go practice in front of a bunch of other comedians when I can practice the skills in other ways and then try to, I don't know, this makes me sound hacky. I shouldn't be saying these things out loud, but I'm just constantly trying to game every system, and figure out a non-cheating loophole that'll give me access to information and spaces where I'm not supposed to be, but that I've placed myself strategically. And one of them being, I want to just become big enough to where I can actually practice my stand-up in legit places. I did this venue the other night, and there's just like this big pole in front of me. It's like, what the fuck is this stage? But, you know, you got to get them reps in. But also, it's crazy because then you hear these comedians on podcasts and just even talking to each other, you know, like 2 or 3 people talking to each other, and just so boring. They're just fucking goofballs. And I don't find anything funny about just being goofy. That's why I talk about bass shit and stuff like that. It might be very appalling to some people and a big turnoff, and they're the ones be like, oh, you need to earn your stripes. It's like, dude, you've been doing stand-up for 10 years and you're still just like not doing anything. But what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, then comedians that are funny on stage, then they get on a podcast or something, and it's like, dude, you're so boring. You're just so goofy. And I don't find anything funny about goofy. It's like, what I like people like Chappelle or Bill Burr or Carlin that talk about life and they make it funny. I'm not trying to bite anybody's style, but it's what it is, dude. Or I'm just going to end up smoking meth somewhere, because I've decided I have no desire for just a normal life. I either want to just live in a van and travel the country and just like fuck bitches that have been wearing the same socks for 3 days in the back of my van, or I just want to be really, either way I want freedom. I either want like poor people freedom, where I'm just on the road and traveling around and seeing stuff and camping and doing what I want to do, or I want rich people freedom, but just like normal, waking up, going to work, clocking in, doing some shit you don't want, then coming home and drinking beer. And like, I don't know, dude. COVID really opened up my eyes. I really woke up to who I am and the things I want and shit I value. I mean, I really thought I was ready. I mean, back in 2019, I was of the mindset, okay, I want to settle down, I want to get married, and I want to start building a family. And then, the world did what it did. And then that's where I decided now, okay, I'd rather be smoking meth than doing that right now. But not, I'm not going to ever smoke meth. I'm not going to ever do anything stupid because that's just not appealing. And it's not a good way out. It's not a good way to cope with things. Humans were so fucking outcome dependent where people's depression and everything, it comes from them expecting a certain outcome. And then if they don't get that outcome, which they'll never get, they resort to these little filler things. It's like people that jump from relationship to relationship without processing the prior one. That's why they can never get the wheel straight in their life or emotionally. Nothing ever works out for them. Or people that cope with drugs and alcohol to get rid of their sadness instead of actually like sitting there with your feelings and asking yourself, okay, why do I feel like this? What is the root of me feeling like this? Or why don't my relationships work out? People that, surround themselves with a bunch of friends that tell them, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with you. They don't for 1 second think about the things that they did wrong. They just surround themselves with people affirming their bad decisions. That's why, when people talk about, guys will say it's a huge red flag if the girl doesn't have any other girlfriends. I think it's a huge red flag if a chick has a bunch of dude friends. But if a chick's kind of a loner, I kind of respect it because I see a lot of girls like chick groups of friends can be fucking detrimental. I don't know too much about the inner workings, but you just see, one chick's relationship will be going down the gutter, and then she doesn't want to be the only single one. So then she starts planting the seeds of like, oh, well, let's fuck everybody's boyfriend. And they get in each other's ears and they need each other's approval for everything. And it's just like children, That's why if I imagine myself, life never goes how you plan it, but I imagine myself if I meet some chick, she's got to be just good on her own without her dumbass friends in her ear, Just fucking bunch of, yeah, dude. And I'm sure it's the same thing for girls with guys. I mean, think about it. If you're a girl, I mean, is it a red flag if the dude has zero friends? Sure. But then if you think about it, okay, is it really a red flag if this dude's deciding to kind of withdraw from social shit until he can be? Because that's like with, dude, it's very rare that I get around people, and I don't want this to sound like a pompous thing, but it's like, I know I can't afford to be in the rooms that I want to be in quite yet. And whether that's financially, skill, or just like spiritually, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, and I've said this before, this is why I know I'm not rich yet, because the universe, it wants me to appreciate that when it does come, because I know it's coming, but the universe didn't want me to be some lame with money, because I feel like I do have a message and I am trying to help people out. And when it does happen, I'm going to be very appreciative of it, and I'm going to know how to handle it. And I'm not going to go broke. I'm not going to be some like Lil Xan type character or something like that, or smoking meth. I remember I had this neighbor, his name was Bill, and he was just a complete whack job, dude. He was kind of like, Rick and Morty. He was kind of like a Rick without being funny or endearing. He just kind of had fucked up teeth I remember when they moved in. So it was my ex-girlfriend and I, we had this townhouse and they lived next to us. And we had these really nice Indian neighbors that lived next to us, and you never heard a peep from them. They would watch their little grandkid and take her for a walk, and we would see them all the time. They loved the cat. They were just the sweetest. They were just the sweetest private couple. And then they moved out. And then we were kind of nervous. And then this just white trash, just tacky, tacky kind of people that need just a bunch of like little trinkets and just shit everywhere. Like their balcony just instantly had shit everywhere. And they put a bunch of shit in front of the door. And, the chick kind of looked like the red-haired version of somebody that have a crystal ball. And then the guy was this weird mad scientist dude, and he drove this like 1920s car, the kind where you stick the fucking crank in the front and you twist it to start it, or maybe you put it in the back. I don't know. He's just like he called himself a real straw hat type guy. And I would run into, he would just never sleep. He'd just always be going back and forth from the door to outside, ripping Marb 100s and tinkering around with shit. And he was actually allegedly working on a COVID cure where he was going to beam light through somebody. And I remember one night before I ever really talked to him, I kind of talked to him in passing because I'm a nice guy. But one time I just got in just a nuclear fight, the type of fight where if I wouldn't have left the house, I probably would have done something really stupid and ended up in jail. And so we get in this huge fight. I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here. And it's like 1 a.m. after she came home. And I'm just like, dude, I got to get the fuck out of here. So I just like walk outside and he's just standing there like right next to my door. And I just look at him like, Jesus Christ. And he's like, oh, hey, what's your name again? And he'd always pretend like he didn't remember my name. Like I'd met him a million times. He always pretend like he didn't remember my name. And then I was like, oh, dude, did you hear any of that? He's like, nope, I didn't hear anything. And I was like, all right, well, I got to figure something out. And he's like, oh, well, you want to see my invention? And like I said, this is just after. This was just after having like a fucking wine glass. Like, my adrenaline's just through the roof. Then this guy, this weirdo crackhead, is just asking me if I want to see his invention. So of course I say yes. He's like, all right, let's go to my garage. And so he takes me out to his garage. And he starts talking to me about how he's contacted aliens. He had a case of beer in there. We started pounding Bud Lights. And just like, I was bumming cigs off of him. And so we're just ripping cigs and drinking Bud Lights, and he's just showing me all this like nutty professor shit. And then he had this thing called a Tenerman device. It was this instrument that you didn't have to touch, and it just kind of sounds like a Halloween, like woo. So like the closer you'd get to it, the more they'd be like woo, and you'd pull your hand away, but woo. You'd like do that. And so we're sitting in his garage just fucked up making beats. Then he showed me his plans for how he's going to solve COVID. He's just going to beam light into somebody. He's just going to eat up the COVID. Kind of like the crack ate up his teeth. I don't know how the fuck they afforded that apartment. That place was expensive. They had a whole townhome. Or maybe, I don't know. I think they just had an apartment with the townhome next to it. But either way, dude, this guy was wilding. But I think and then I ended up just sleeping on a couch in his... in his garage. That was the beginning of my bachelor life. Good times, dude. But yeah, then I remember when we were moving out. And we're supposed to be out at midnight. And so I just been running shit. We didn't get a U-Haul or anything like that. Or maybe we did. How the fuck did we get the furniture over there? Did I still have a truck? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I was just been loading up the car. Oh, I hired movers. But I just been loading up the car and making runs like all fucking day. And then, and we finally get done like past midnight, after a day of just moving. And all of a sudden this dude is out there and he's like, you guys aren't wearing your masks. He like runs up on us and tells us we need to be wearing masks. And I'm like, dude, you need to not be smoking crack, but nobody's trying to tell you anything. And my patience was worn very thin. And he's like, you need to be wearing masks. They're burning people in India. He's just flipping the fuck out. And then he gave me some papers. He gave me a stack of papers because he thought like the government was after him. I still have them somewhere. Probably not here. Probably up in Washington. I have them like at my dad's house or something. He gave me this stack of papers about this like emergency evacuation and told me to give it to some doctor if he disappears because he thought that somebody was after him. Wow, that was the worst podcast ever. That's how we're going to end it. I'm kidding. What do I talk about? I think there's some stuff in there, but yeah, I just had to get back into groove here, you guys. I'm actually working on another podcast. I'm really excited about that. Working on a new podcast. Do I want to announce it? No, I'm not going to announce it yet. I'm going to announce it probably next week, but it's really fucking cool. And we have some really cool guests. So be on the lookout for that. Follow me on IG. Please leave a fucking rating. Go in whatever you're listening to this right now and leave a rating, leave a review if you may. And I appreciate you spending this time with me. I hope you're having a great week. And much love, peace to y'all, and you guys take care of yourselves.